I had a interruption before, if you all couldn't tell, on my last video. That's why I had to cut it so short. Um, but I wanted to continue that conversation, and obviously, I've had more time to think about certain things, and I was kind of underneath time constraints and like just trying to get my thoughts out. Um, but getting back to the whole, what I feel like a lot of black women just lie about, which is, there is a, whether you want to call it a culture, and there's a lack of honesty about uh, black women who want this ideal black man that is not even what black boys are taught. It's not what the majority of us think. We think that, being kick-ass, the more competitive you are out here in the world, that black women would recognize that and value that and appreciate that and desire that. That's not what happens. They want a guy that, sexually moves them. A lot of times it's a street dude because they have the riz. They're rebellious. They're bucking the system. A lot of black women, even educated black women, are rebellious. You know how I know this? Because going back to Ashley Acuna and her, I don't even see the type of brothers I like in corporate America. A lot of the black men that are the ELs that end up in corporate America, that is who they are. Like, men, when they get a career, that career, especially if it's something that they're proud of. Obviously, if it's something they're not proud of, they're going to say it doesn't define them. But when it's something that they're proud of, that defines them. A man who's like, I'm a doctor, like him being a doctor defines him. A man that says, I'm an electrician, being an electrician defines him. A man that says, I'm a lawyer, that defines them. And it seems like, when it comes to black women, unless it's I guess it's the same thing, unless it's like some highfalutin job, like they don't want to, or they want to affiliate with the title. But the thing that black women do that's different is when they come home, they take that mask off. It's like one woman who said, "That's that fake Becky." I was like, "What's that fake Becky?" Like when a black woman answers the phone at the corporate office, like black women don't talk like that. That's that fake Becky. You got to code switch and put that on. But a lot of ELs don't code switch. And this goes into whether it's the idea of catering to another man's patriarchy or operating based on the definition of what a man should be based on the white system. And, Ray Ray and Pookie operates outside the confines of the system. And a lot of black women, whether they're educated or not, obviously we know the ones that are not, they're all about being themselves and keeping it real, right? But a lot of black women who are educated, they're on the keep it real tip as well. And, there's a lot of, they want to feel comfortable at all times. And I don't entirely blame them for that. I get it. I get the idea, right? But when these women are not moved or even attracted, because of, how these men move and operate their behavior, when these women are not even attracted to these dudes and then they're bitching because the guy is over there with Becky, I don't get it. You don't want them, and it's like these women do not want to acknowledge the fact that the men that, even for the most educated women who are on their level or above, they don't want for, that reason, that being one of the reasons, right? Because they want to do that, quote unquote, makes them feel comfortable, which is tied to typically a man being in a subordinate position to them. And he's out there doing something in the streets or some sort of illegal activity, where she can kind of, use it as a trump card and throw it up in his face. Everything is in her name or everything is in his mama's name, whatever the hell it may be. He doesn't have a solid foundation to really be able to fuck with her. And a lot of black women, they like that dynamic. But yet they're going to come online when it doesn't work out. when they get in a fight with the dude and the dude is out there fucking some other bitch or getting some other chick pregnant, because if, remember, he's not fully legitimate. He's not beheld to the same, parameters and stuff like that, especially if he didn't marry the woman. Where, an educated, lame, a square dude, they've always been the guys that were more inclined to marry a woman. And so when shit hits the fan, you don't just get to just walk away. Because now you're legitimate. Your money's legitimate. Now you're talking child support, alimony, splitting of assets, all these sorts of things. The street dudes don't operate like that. So the rebelliousness that a lot of these women like about these street dudes, and how they operate to the beat of their own drum, it's a double-edged sword. Yeah, all that stuff is fun. It's exciting. He keeps you on the edge of your seats. But then when, the relationship dissolves and he says, fuck it, you're the one that's left there holding the bag. You're the one that's left there holding the responsibilities, be it kids or bills or whatever. Okay. So a lot of black women, they go around and they're playing with the edge of the cliff. They're playing with the edge of the cliff. And if things don't work out and they just so happen to fall over that cliff, now they're going to come online and talk about how, black men are so terrible and there's nothing to pick from, and all the good men are out there. They're all out there with Becky. It's amazing how this population of educated lames is argued to be such a small population, but then whenever the women jump up and they're looking for these guys, they see them everywhere because they're all with white women and they're all out there over the fence, and they're all, they're all these brothers that are, the passport bros and going abroad. I thought these guys didn't exist. And again, the crazy thing is, I'm saying, this is the group that these women should be messing with, especially the ones like Cerebral, and I'm just talking about the category, these intellectual women, the women that are like, I'm not dumb, I'm not a hood rat or whatever. I don't know what her educational background is, but I'm saying, these women should be dealing with those dudes, right? And those dudes should be dealing with those women, even though a woman doesn't have to be educated, she doesn't have to have a bunch of money, right? It's the idea is that she just needs to be fit, feminine, cooperative, and childless for the childless men. That's what she has to be. So if she's pleasant, has motherly qualities, most dudes are game. Okay. But the thing is with the more ambitious women, and I've even seen some of the white female dating coaches talk about this, these overly ambitious women, right? They're looking for power. They're looking for recognition. They don't want to be the dude's arm candy. They don't want to have to, follow his leadership, get with his program. They don't want to, have to, facilitate his legacy through his children that will take his last name. They don't want to do all that. That again, see, this is the whole issue, is that the concepts that many black men, young black men, have about marriage are completely different than all these black women who are coming online complaining. Not all of them, but the ones that are complaining. And you hear it when they're talking. You hear it in their tone. You hear it in their rhetoric. Any women running around talking about patriarchy, like patriarchy is a problem. You see, again, that's a woman that you can't deal with. And I wanted to get into these deal breakers because this is something that I was thinking, after I got offline or whatever, or after I got done the first video. Deal breakers. And this is the sense that I get from most of the black women online, the women that are over there on Gay Killmonger's page, Themis and Thoughts. I know it's Thoughts with a TH, but Themis and Thoughts. All the women that are over there. And just the contempt that you hear in their voice. All this, trying to fake like they're looking for men to be, in this kick-ass position. And they don't want the men to be in that kick-ass position. And what it comes down to for me when I hear, the Cynthia G's and all these other women, and again, mileage may vary. Some of these women are more extreme than others. But the way that they view black men, and this is a deal breaker for me as a black man, the way that they view black men is no matter what you do individually as a black man, I can't respect you. I can't follow you. Okay. I can't let you lead. Right. And then they'll, insert, Ray Ray and Pookie arguments and then use those guys to try to justify them being belligerent and uncooperative with a man that's got his shit together. And my thing is, if people would say, well, don't black women have a right to feel that way, right? Because whether it's slavery and we were conquered and the white man has always had his foot on our neck, yeah, you got all the reason in the world to feel that way. I mean, history is history, right? We lost. It's not like we're in the winner's circle. We lost, yeah, but see, that's something that you can't take back. That's grounds for me to walk. And I'm saying I will walk, because there's nothing I can do. I cannot, again, as they like to say, women want to be loved, men want to be respected. When you say that, when you're going to try to use history to justify, role reversal or you being in power, I'm walking away from you. I'm not dealing with you on any level. Because at the end of the day, right, we know what the history is. But I'm saying when a black man is out here doing the damn thing and he's got his finances in order and, he's laying down his foundations and all that. What was I going to say? If he's doing all that and that's not good enough, like you don't even have essentially we don't even have a starting point because nothing he does is good enough because you're going to try to hold him to, where black people collectively are in society. There's nothing he can do with that. And the women will say, well, why can't we think like that? Or why don't we have a right to feel like you do have a right to feel like that? But the thing is like, in order to have a starting point, you gotta sort that shit out in your own head. In other words, if you can't look at a black man that has his shit together and respect what he's doing and get with the program, if him trying to operate patriarchally, if you can't do that, then there's no starting point. You need to sort that out in your own head. None of this, well, I need to see y'all in the winner's circle. Well, we're not in the winner's circle. You know what I'm saying? So again, you don't have a starting point at that point if what you want is a finished product. I'll submit when you all win a race war. It's like, okay, well, that's not going to happen, not in my lifetime. So dudes need to walk. And I'm saying I can flip it on the other side and you'll see how fucked up it is. If I were to take the same argument and apply it to black women's beauty, like if I'm the ultimate colorist dude, to an ultimate colorist dude, no matter how in shape, no matter how clear a black woman's skin is, no matter how straight her teeth are, no matter how much every hair is in place on her head, no matter how immaculate her makeup is, she can never compare to the white women that are actively and constantly promoted in the media. Right? Like it makes sense for a black man in 2023 to be colorist as fuck. Why not? There's white women all over the television, right? I mean, your argument as black women is that, well, everywhere I look, when I see men in positions of power and positions of authority, they're white men. You're 100% right. You're 100% right. President of the United States, the police officers, people who control Fortune 500 companies, the banks, everywhere you look, it's white male authority. I'm 100% with you. And everywhere young black men look, they see white female standards of beauty. You see, so if a black man is going to be with a black woman, right, he can't use the mainstream media as his cues to determine whether a black woman is beautiful to him or not. He has to sort that shit out in his own head. He has to say, I don't give a fuck what the fucking media is saying. Jazz McKendrick is a fine bitch, or who, whatever black woman you want to insert in there. You know what I'm saying? Brianna Miles, or whatever her name is, Bria Miles. That's a bad bitch. I don't care what the media has to say. White media is like, her hips are too wide. I don't give a fuck. That's a bad bitch. End of the discussion. You got to have that shit sorted out in your own head. You see, and that's what I'm saying about when it comes to being with black women. When I hear all these women, I hear y'all don't want to follow, for nothing. Even if a man is on his P's and Q's, you're still going to jump up and say he needs to run. Black men as a collective needs to win a race war. You're still going to throw up, Ray Ray and Pookie. I'm like, even if you're with the dude that's a doctor, you're gonna be talking about, the niggas shooting each other in the middle of fucking Houston or something like that. That's what you're gonna bring up. You see, so again, it's like you're not going to get to reap the benefits of a black male leadership at a discount, because that's what y'all are trying to do. You're trying to get black men to sell their manhood at a discount. And it's no different than a colorist black man who doesn't value black women's beauty, who's trying to get a black woman to sell her beauty at a discount because you're not a white woman, right? Oh, well, I'm saying, you got a fat ass and all, but you just a black woman, so you should settle for, this dusty ass nigga situation because you don't have no value anyway. You see what I'm saying? And it's the same shit when it comes to, when it comes to men and their role. Don't get it twisted. There's a lot of things that need to be corrected and fixed and all the other stuff. But when you're shooting down the best that the black community has to offer, in either direction, it's the same situation. You know what I'm saying? Like I could sit there and I could talk about the obesity rate, or I could talk about, black women being in poverty and how, there's food deserts and black women don't look that good. And then when you present me with the ones that do look good, because we have, beautiful black women that you can see all over Instagram, fine ass bitches working out and everything. If I'm shooting that down and then I'm bringing up 300-pound bitches, that's a fucking problem. You see what I'm saying? If I'm sitting there talking about, yeah, but 60% of black women are overweight, or 80% of black women are overweight and 60% are obese, but the one you pointed to is not. I shouldn't be shooting that down. Not based on her looks. I shouldn't be shooting that down. And the same thing goes, you get a black man that's got his shit together, y'all shouldn't be shooting that down. Y'all shouldn't be going Ray Ray and Pookie. I'm like, he's not a Ray Ray and Pookie. What's the problem? Well, black men collectively haven't won a race war. Really? That's your reason? So when I come across an attractive black woman, I should be bringing up the 60 and 80% overweight and obesity rate, right? That's what I should be doing to get out of having to acknowledge that she's fine. Because this is literally what you all do when I hear all these complaints. I'm like, at the end of the day, chick, you can talk all this and black men and black women are struggling and this, that, and the third and yada, yada, yada. At the end of the day, you ain't getting ready to cooperate with any dude. And this is why, you want to talk about the imbalance, about, who could go in, who could go where, who's doing what, right? It's like this. If a man is colorist, right? You know what the difference is between like black men and black women, right? It's like Kat brought up this point about when he was dating, a woman that had 3 kids. He had no kids. He was dating a woman that had 3 kids. And he admits, because he didn't have a whole bunch of game, a lot of stuff his mother removed from him, with the whole, ain't no woman want to hear that jive talk. Actually, they do want to hear that jive talk. They do want to hear you gas their heads up. They know it's bullshit, but they want to hear it. They want to see how clever and witty you are and everything else. So Cap never developed those skills. Anyway, one of the women he was dating, she had 3 kids, and Cap didn't want to have any kids. He was like, look, you got 3 kids. We'll just, take care of the kids that you got and raise them and all that other stuff. And that's it. Because Cap, never got the chance to, to be with a woman that didn't have any kids. So, the thing is she eventually recognized that Cap was basically settling for her. And ooh, she didn't like that shit. She didn't like that shit. You know, so it's like, and he's like, he was adamant about it because it's like, nah, chick, like, nah, like this was not my fantasy. This was not my ideal situation. You know what I'm saying? But here we are. I'm willing to work it out. But no, like, you and your three kids in this whole situation is not what I wanted for myself. You see? And hold on a second. Power is everything. My shit was right about to die. Anyway, um, I'm sure you could imagine how once she realized that she was, which, I mean, the audacity of somebody with three kids, and this man has no kids, and thinking that she was the prize. And once it was established that, she wasn't the prize, you could see how eventually that relationship dissolved, right? And it's the same thing with like a guy who's colorist. You know what I mean? To be with a black woman, and in the back of her mind, that it is, and I should say this, you know, um, a lot of black women, I'm just going off of how they feel, they do not feel that they are black men's first choice. They feel that if they walk into a room and there's other races of women there, that the black men are going to go for these other races of women. That's what they feel. Okay. And so, not establishing, how I want to say this. Not establishing the fact that, you know, that you do have, genuine interest. If they think that you're into other races of women, or they think that you prefer a white woman, for example, that they're not your first choice, right? So they don't feel loved as women want to be loved, right? That's going to be a problem for that woman. Every time she walks into a room with you and there's some other, let's just say some white women around, she's going to be feeling some type of way, worrying about whether your eyes are over there. You see? And with black women, it's the same thing minus one caveat, right? Because the whole idea, and maybe it would be different if it was the past where, let's say it was 1950, like Cap's mother one time, she said, she was like, yeah, black people, basically could acknowledge, that white people, white people who were attractive. She said all the people on television in the 50s were white. All the people, all the celebrities, everything. So people would have crushes, because, I don't know, like, I don't know, who's an actor from like the 50s, like who's that guy, Howard Dean or something like that. Women would swoon over or something like that. Or Marilyn Monroe would be on TV. Like, it wasn't like black men were losing sleep because they couldn't have Marilyn Monroe. Like, as though because they couldn't have Marilyn Monroe, they just couldn't look at all the other black women in their community. The ones that they found attractive. Um, but the what was I going to say about the whole idea? If it was the 1950s, right, there would be a closed ecosystem in the black community because interracial relationships most certainly were not happening like that. Now in 2023, yeah, it is a bigger threat to a black woman to sit there and see, some white woman walk by, and that the black guy might go for her and the white woman might go for him. That's a bigger threat. Now, as it pertains to the women, when it comes to their lack of respect, for black men, or their lack of, deference, or their lack of what's the word that I'm looking for? Ideas and concepts of following and submission. Black women can look at a black man, be attracted to him, because that doesn't come into question, right? That's been firmly established. Be attracted to him, but not respect him. Now, that doesn't mean despite all what even Cerebral was saying in the video, that she's going to go off and go run to another race of man. But it bothers me and it bothers many other black men, that the respect is not there. That's a deal breaker for me. Again, a black woman may be worried about some black man running off with, the white woman. I'm not too worried about a black woman running off with a white man because of several things. Because a lot of it is tied to the these sort of belief systems that black women have, the shaming tactics they use, your mama black, melanin content, hoteptress. If they're using any Afrocentric thing, I'm like, you ain't ready to get with Chad. The other thing, the cultural stuff, whether you want to talk about, some of the more ghetto stuff, some of the I want to relax, and let my hair down type of stuff, that is exclusive to black people. That's another reason why I ain't worried about Brad or Chad. Then you also have the aspect of the fact that other races of men would need to be interested in them and pursue them in order for them to even get the validation. Like these, and this is the whole thing with the penis envy of the women, because it's like on everything they act like, well, if the men are doing, we can do it. And it's like, no, it doesn't work that way. What are you going to do? Go out here and start proposing to dudes? Like, it's amazing listening to some of these women talk about how they're going to swirl and interracially date. Not to say that I'm trying to speak out against it. I'm just saying I'm trying to highlight that like, in other words, black women have gotten so caught up in this trying to penis envy, trying to be men, that they don't even realize when they've crossed the threshold. Like, I'm like, now you're completely out of being a woman. What do you go up to a bar and you're going to ask a white dude for his number or a Hispanic dude for his number? Like, I'm not saying a woman can't do it. I'm saying they don't get the validation that a lot of these women are looking for in doing it that way. You see, so it's like, oh, black men are out here interracially dating and we're going to go out here and do the same thing. And I'm like, again, in my opinion, there's too many hangups. I'm not trying to discourage it. I'm just saying I think there's too many hangups. Now, what I will agree with is because the white man has his intact patriarchy and the belief system that surrounds white men is firmly in place. And I could throw up other races of men as well, but I'm just going to keep it easier and simpler because we're in America and the majority of the population is like black and white, and that's what it is. But I'm saying, because of that, it's easier for a black woman to submit to a white man. That doesn't mean that it's easy. It's easier. Easier is the key word, because I think a lot of us get caught up on that. Even myself, when it comes down to, they ain't gonna submit to a black man, they ain't gonna submit to nobody, and again, that depends on each black woman, but there are certain black women that, it doesn't matter where they go, they're gonna have problems, right? And then you have other women where they'll argue it's easier when it comes to a white man, but they don't have the personality, for that either, But I'm just saying that, some of these, these things, those two things in my book, the whole, no matter what, I can't see a black woman as being more beautiful than a white woman or some other race of woman, or a black woman saying to a black man, no matter what you do or what you accomplish as, as a man, I just can't see you in that light. Then I think that we need to walk away from each other. If you're that bad, I'm saying, even if it, like, even, because this is, conversations that have come up, it's like, even if, let's say a black man acknowledges, like, hey, there's good looking women in other communities, that's fine. But if the situation is as such that no black woman beats any other woman any day of the week, that should be a deal breaker. That is a deal breaker. It's a deal breaker. You know what I mean? Like, if you want to, even if you have a wide palette when it comes to, your taste in women, and I know women that take issue, with that. It's like, I don't want to have to go out here and compete with everything. Goddamn, you like everything. Asian women, white women, Hispanic women. It's like, like there's a lot of sisters out here that they only want to deal with brothers that deal with sisters. That's it. It's like, I can't deal with dealing with, all other groups, right? I've heard people who they don't like dealing with bisexual people for that reason. They're like, damn, everywhere we go, I got to worry about the men and the women. Like, fuck that, But the all I'm saying is, when it comes to like the guys that that would fall into the category of colorism, right? It's like, yeah, you can the guys they'll try to fight me on that, and they'll be like, no, it's not colorism, it's about personal preference, and they'll say all this stuff. Yeah, that's fine. You got a wide palette. There's many black women that have a wide palette too. I don't jump up and down and get mad if a black woman says, I don't know, insert white guy, insert Hollywood white guy is good looking. I'm like, yeah, that's a good looking dude. Like Josh Hartnett in his prime or Brad Pitt in his prime. Good looking guys. You got George Clooney, good looking guy. Got no issue with that. It's reasonable for somebody to be attracted to him, that's not specifically in that race. That's reasonable. But when you get to the point of, no matter what, Becky wins, no matter what, like, see, that goes beyond, anything that's redeemable. And so basically I'm saying all that to say that when I listen to a lot of these women file these complaints about black men, number one, I think that you all avoid men that have their shit together so that you can call shots in the relationship. I think that you all use Ray Ray and Pookie arguments to dodge. How would you even be with a man that has his shit together? How would you function and operate in that relationship? Right? They really don't have enough respect for black men, even if you put that black man, that quality black man, right in front of them. They will fuck it up. They will fuck it up. They'll fuck it up just like Crystalline Karazin fucked up her marriage with all the shit she was talking. Fucked it up. You see? So, a lot of these women are coming on, talking all the shit that they're talking. I'm like, nah, you're mad. And I'm saying, to even further reinforce the point, a lot of these women are single moms. A lot of these women already have kids. So I'm like, nah, so you was out there fucking and sucking and you were in relationships. Didn't nobody not want you? This is like as bogus as what Sherry Shepherd did when she went up there talking about, ain't nobody want her and everything. No, the men that she wanted didn't want her. But that woman has been married twice. And then not only that, Hill Harper tried to shoot his shot at her. And it's like, and Sherry's up there talking colorism. Again, most of these women, the divestors too, again, they got kids, whole bunch of single moms in there, and they're mad because they couldn't get whatever dude they're complaining about, the Dusty, the Pookie, all that, to get with the program. And like I said in another video that I did, there's something wrong when a woman cannot acknowledge that it wasn't just all rape and pillage when they were in the relationship with the dude, even the street dudes. They'll have you believing that they were verbally abused day in and day out, and it was the guy had her chained to the wall like what was that movie Black Snake Moan with Samuel L. Jackson, right? They'll have you believing that that's all their relation. It was just constant daily abuse, right? Because and they don't want to acknowledge that there was any good parts to it. That's a woman that's out of her mind. I'm like, listen, let me get this right. So you had two of this man's children, but you're going to tell me that the entire time that you were with him, it was all rape and pillage and disrespect and degrading of the black woman. Bullshit. You had his kids twice. You see, and so, this is the type, and so like, it's almost never we get to expose these women's dysfunction. And this is where a lot of the resentment against women comes through. This hiding behind, this safe space that society has created for women. There is no holding them accountable, even when they're making the decisions, the manipulations. The what's the word that I'm looking for? The conniving shit that they do. And you see this, that even that the fucking I shouldn't compare the white women to black women, but I'm saying, we already have enough examples of, black women lying on black men's dicks. Merlin Santana was killed because a black woman lied on his dick. The freaking, who was it? Brian Banks, because a woman lied on his dick. And now, in the UK, they're talking about this woman who beat herself up and accused, two men of some sort of sexual assault / rape, to the point that I think one of them attempted suicide. You see? It was either attempted or contemplated suicide. I forget which one it was. You know what I mean? So it's like, think about what was going through her head to do some shit like that. Like, it's like, oh, society is going to come to my rescue. Same shit I said about the Madison Brooks case. Right? Society is going to come to the rescue and whatnot. And yeah, I know that there is a difference between the way that white women are treated versus black women, the way that black women are treated. And if anything, it could be argued that white society will still use the idea of a victimized black woman to get at black men and, destroy a black male life and, lock them up and throw away the key. If it's going to equate to a black man's life being destroyed, oh yeah, we got to go and we got to investigate that. Oh yeah, we got to make sure that he's behind bars. Let a black woman, call out sexual assault, and then her accused is a white guy, then all of a sudden now they're like, well, maybe she wanted it. Then the whole conversation changed. But against a black man, nah. If a black woman screams rape, they will quickly, look to throw us under the bus or under the jail, just the same way that they'll do a white woman. They're like, oh, this is going to result in what? Locking a nigga up? Oh yeah. Tell us, Keisha. Tell us what happened. This is the shit that goes on. So, for black women to try to pretend like they don't use the system, the white supremacy against black men in this regard is bullshit. It's bullshit. And that's another reason why a lot of black men don't feel this strong, super sense of kinship when it comes to sisters. We don't, because, far too often you all will use the system in your favor against us, scream damsel in distress. And then next thing you know, we're the ones that are getting, jammed up, or we're the ones that are getting verbally, thrown underneath the bus. As women sit up there and yes, let's discuss why there's only 3 black men for every 100 black women. I'm a payroll specialist. And all these niggas again, that's what's so funny about Themis and Thoughts, and his bullshit. Like every time a gay nigga comes through, y'all black women come through and act like y'all the best friends in the world and shit. Yeah, black women and gay dudes are the best friends. They're allies until we get to a discussion talking about the rate of HIV amongst African American women. Then all of a sudden it's down low brothers and gay niggas and all this other shit. Then all the homophobia comes out, right? And like I said, I already know why the LGBT and the black feminist form Voltron is because their goal is smash the patriarchy. Patriarchy does not place value on homosexual men. It doesn't. You know what I mean? In a patriarchal, environment, a patriarchal community, yes, straight heteronormative cisgender men make homophobic jokes and talk about, women being weak and any man acting like a woman, which gay dudes fall underneath that category, is also weak and not to be respected. And so gay dudes are always going to have, they're always going to be second tier in a patriarchy. So the goal is, if we can eliminate the patriarchy, then, freaking gay dudes can be free and all this other shit. And that's why you see all this shit from the left with, all this anti-masculinity, masculine males. That's why you see all this bullshit, being pushed. What was I going to say? There was something else I was going to say about that, about the left and pushing that. But yeah, anyway, that's why you see that, and then now you got this shit with the, at first it was a teenage girl who shot the Christian school up, and now it's a 28-year-old transgender female shot the school up. A 28-year-old white transgender female shot this school up, and it's like, are y'all women going to take this L? I don't even say black women, but just women in general. Are y'all going to take this L? Are we going to hear all the arguments about, she's a woman too? Are we going to hear that? Or are y'all going to disassociate because it was an act of violence? But when you're out here trying to shame heteronormative cisgendered men in fucking with a transgender woman, you're singing a different tune, talking about she's a woman too. How does it work? Is this going to be, should the FBI categorize this as a female mass shooter? Should the FBI, count this as, female violence against children? You know what I mean? Or are y'all going to disassociate yourselves and be like, that's a man, that's not a woman? And basically say the same thing that, straight men have been saying, since, we've came online, seething in our toxic masculinity. This transgender woman killed, they had some 61-year-old white woman that was on television that she was one of the victims. Do we count this as, women committing violence against women? Like, should the Violence Against Women Act laws be enacted or something? Like how does this work? This is the stupidity of all this, anything goes, type of society. But and that's part of it. Even when women want to complain about men, we live in a society where it's like, men need to man up and take on all this responsibility at the same time that people are arguing for the anything goes society. And that, I'm gonna end this video pretty soon, but I'm saying, and that brings me to the point about, and this is the last point, but about, the facts are, like I said, these women, if they could be with a strapping mandingo dude that, he's not a Dusty. He's got enough money, but doesn't have more money than her. Praises and worships her. And, doesn't have any of the patriarchal beliefs or tenets to try to tell her what to do or control her. As long as he's not trying to assert himself, many of these women will be perfectly fine with these dudes. That's ideally what they want, but they want to be able to control Pookie. You know what I mean? They're like fucking, they're like, what's that character in Mortal Kombat with the midget, Mortal Kombat midget. What was Mortal Kombat midget? The Farrah and Tor. Yeah, Farrah and Tor. Like, that's like, or another example would be Uma Thurman and Bane in freaking, the old Batman. I forget what Batman that was. That was the one with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Frost, playing Mr. Frost. But yeah, that Batman, where Bane, like, it's always so funny to me because, I'm old enough to, have, saw that Batman. And it's like, so, Batman, Bane goes from just muscle bound, just, like can't even talk to the new Batman, freaking, what was that? Batman Returns or The Dark Knight, where Batman or excuse me, Bane is, and you think this gives you power over me? Like he's this big intellectual. I'm like, isn't that funny? So we go from cockstrong brute to intellectual. At least that's moving men in the right direction. But I'm just saying, a lot of women, that's what they want. They want these, as Dr. T. Hassan Johnson called them, unpaid bodyguards, concu serfs, cater to the gynocracy, cater to the Wicker Man situation. I mean, literally, that's what these women want. And it's like, no, you're not going to get that. And their way of shooting that down in the man's direction is, well, y'all haven't won a race war. But I'm like, it ain't even about winning a race war. Even if they did, you still wouldn't get with the program because you really don't have any respect for black men. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a deal breaker, and I'm the fuck out. And with that being said, I'm like, again, if that's how you feel about black men, then please do not make videos about passport bros and where they're going and who they're with and everything, because you've already established that you do not respect these men, and you're not going to respect these men, even if they have kick-ass, awesome individual accomplishments. You're always going to bring up Ray Ray and Pookie. You're always going to bring up, the conditions of the community or this, that, and the third. That's why I don't gotta respect you and this, that, and the third. And I concede the point. I concede to the point because I already know that shit can't be fixed. You know what I mean? I'm not even going to bring up all the bullshit that y'all participate with. Talking about you need to fix the community and you need to handle these men in the community that are causing so much death and mayhem while you have their dick in their mouth. Or dick in your mouth, I'm sorry. While you have their dick in your mouth. I'm supposed to pry him off of you and then beat his ass and then throw him in jail, right? That's how it's supposed to work. While you have his 2 or 3 kids, I'm supposed to shut that down. This is why, dude. This is a part of the reason why dudes are walking away. But as far as I'm concerned, it's a deal breaker. It's a deal breaker. I can't. When I hear all this anger, when I hear all that shit that Cynthia G talking and Cerebral are talking and many other women are talking, I'm like, I can't sleep with my back to you. I'm not doing that. I'm like, that's how you feel? And the only equivalent that I can draw is that whole colorism thing. You know what I mean? Like you being with a man that he doesn't want you. In his mind, he's over there fantasizing about a Latina as you sleep next to him. That's what it feels. That's the closest thing that I can get you to understand about what it feels like dealing with you all. And then y'all try to bring up other shit, and what about the community and ancient Africa and melanin content and all this other shit. And I'm like, you don't have any respect for me. The conversation is over. You said something that you can't take it back. You see, now I know how you feel. I know how you look at the white man or Chad or whatever. And I know how you look at me. And I know how deep that runs. I know that I can't change that no matter what I do, unless I go out here and magically change history and change the world. I'm sorry that, slavery happened and Jim Crow happened and all that shit happened before I even fucking got here. But again, if that's your angle and that's the basis of all your anger and frustration, and you're going to direct it at me, and then you're going to try to get me to sell my manhood at a discount, I'm not selling my manhood at a discount. Fuck you. You know what I'm saying? This is one of them situations where it's like, I'd rather be alone. I would rather be alone than be with a woman that views me that way. If I was with a white woman and she thought or said the same thing, said some pearly things out of pocket type of shit, I'd get the fuck on too. You know what I mean? So I cannot be with any woman that views me in that light. It's not going to happen. So in any event, that's all I got to say. That's my video. SWP out. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe.